into the podcast.
All right, let's jump on in, man.
Hello and welcome to Paradise. You're listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. You are here with me, Connor Mack. I'm your host. I am here as always with my best pal in the Green Day verse, Green Day comrade in arms, BFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffffff partner with Billy Joe Armstrong,
That's right.
Mr. Connor Kelly.
Hey, hello.
How's it going? How's it going, bud?
I'm okay, man. You know, I
Yeah.
got an update from our business, from our joint business venture.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's
You
laid on me?
you may remember that given the like purchase of stock in the company that you and I invested in.
Yeah, we both invested in this
That's
company.
and those are all the right words
Yeah,
and terms. That we're
correct.
practically finance bros.
I mean, I think we are finance bros.
We're kind of like finance bros.
Definitionally.
Right? I need like a penthouse in Williamsburg, you know.
Well, that comes shortly afterwards. Don't worry. By the end of the year, we will have our penthouses.
That's right.
Plural.
That's right.
Plural
But-
for both of us.
I think the proper plural term is penthouse I.
Sorry, penthouse. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways, you may or may not remember, Connor, that I'm waiting on my official Oakland Ballers investor T-shirt.
Yes.
It's very official.
Uh-huh.
Most of the from what I understand, now that I'm in the finance world, most investments actually come with a T-shirt. Warren Buffett has a closet full of investor T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know you're invested in
That's right.
in the business.
Yeah. It used to be that you would get like a certificate of investment, you know.
Yeah.
But
in the modern age, we've moved on from
things have changed.
certifications.
Yeah.
Graphic tees now are I mean, what's more official than a graphic tee?
That's right, and they're highly coveted. You know.
Yeah. Oh,
like
absolutely.
You see Elon Musk, you see Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I mean that guy Elon Musk. First off, he is like the finance bro. Okay, and
top of the ladder, you know.
Top of the ladder, and he's always in a t-shirt.
That's right.
Every time I see that guy, he's in a freaking t-shirt.
That's right.
Come on.
Or he's not wearing a t-shirt and he's revealed his undulatinous form.
Yeah,
which is all
that's like,
yeah.
I just find that so brave that he can do that in front of everybody with what he's got going on under there.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I really admire that. Like it's I don't know if I could do it on it. If I had the same thing going on under the shirt, I don't know if I could walk around uncovered. Honestly,
I can tell you that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's my my update. Here's my where was that fucking thing? They had sent me. I get so many emails from them now. It says
it's like a full-time job, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All the time. Last thing I do
or to Connors.
To Dear Connor. There's no.
Oh.
It's not plural. It's not Con I. They didn't pluralize it.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, even though it's a co-invest, they're only sending one T-shirt, buddy.
Fine.
I'm sorry.
Well, I know that, but we already share a T-shirt, so that's
right.
Okay.
That's true. It says, "Dear Connor, if you ordered an owner's T-shirt via our Oaklandish partner system, which I did." Please be aware that the T-shirt will ship by Friday, May 23rd, 2025. We appreciate your patience. We had set an expectation of them shipping sooner and have not met that expectation. We're sorry for the delay. We're working hard. Oh, I'm not done. Sorry, I'm not done. So don't interrupt. We're working hard to get them out the door and into your hands as quickly as we can. We love seeing fellow owners sporting the shirts and look forward to seeing you in one as soon as possible. Thank you,
Wow.
ballers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I really dig the transparency there.
Yeah, no, the thing is like they can make any number of excuses, but what I appreciate is they're just owning up to it. They're like,
They are.
we've made this mistake. We're
Yeah.
sorry.
They are taking accountability.
Exactly.
They're being transparent.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean that's a for in the business world in the modern age. And I mean, we just know this as as finance bros, and it comes with experience. You
Yes.
do learn these things that
Yeah.
you have to you're held to a higher caliber than the rest of the population.
Yeah.
You have to hold yourself with a certain uh, gravitas, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the word.
That's
That's
exactly the
the
word I was
appropriate
thinking
word.
of. Gravitas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with these things with grace, and I think that's exactly what the Polaris have done. And so, Connor, I'm so proud. I got to say, I'm so proud to be an investor in this company.
Yes. Yeah. No. This is really a joint venture that I'm just so chuffed that you and I
Yeah,
can put our weight behind this, and
absolutely.
not just our weight, but our sizable donation.
Our
Like
sizable contributions.
our sizable contribution, because you want to make sure when you have enough money, they say like your money's supposed to work for you. You know what I mean? You can't just have your money be idle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's like so. I'm just glad that it's supporting a just and worthy institution like the Oakland Ballers.
100%. And I mean, knowing Billy Joe also received that email, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is
that's just a pretty cool thing. Like we know he's waiting on his t-shirt just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. This is probably the first time in my life I could say with 100% certainty I've received the same email as Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah. I mean, beforehand, like it is possible that we have received the same email. Like, I mean, he just might. There's a non-zero chance that he is subscribed to like the same spam mails that we've been just subscribed to. Like that.
Right.
There is a chance that that's the case, but
that's true. It could be phishing.
Yeah,
email,
phishing scams. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he could even be, could be like a. I don't know. He could even have like, I don't know, like a newsletter that we're subscribed to, like.
Right. Any number of things.
Yeah.
But this one feels like really certain. This one.
This 100% certainty here. Yes, absolutely.
Like that could have gone on the bingo card. Received the same email as Billy Joe Armstrong. This would have been crossing that off.
Oh man,
the bingo list. I know.
You can put that on next year's.
Next year. So
definitely.
What are you gonna do? Yeah. Connor, how are you doing? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. We took a break for Mother's Day. We like to celebrate these holidays, and
it's always a holiday. Attention. Yeah, it makes sense.
Give them our full attention, undivided attention, and Mother's Day is very important. It's literally celebrating the person who gave you life. So I thought it would be crass to record an episode last week.
Absolutely.
Honestly. Yeah. But we're back. We're back in action, better than ever. We're not talking about Insomniac yet. We're not there. We're not there quite yet. But we're not talking about Dookie either.
We're kind of in this no man's land between these two albums. What's going on,
We're caught in the in-between.
That's right.
We are talking about a single that was released off of the soundtrack of a 90s movie, 95 movie called Angus. And that's it. And that single happens to be called J.A.R. Well, Connor, so this is we're talking about J.A.R. J.A.R. today, Jason Andrew Relva. Of course, Green Day fans, of course, you all know this song. So this is how it was released, and it did really well. It was a very popular song, which is why it's on their greatest hits, international super hits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a weird context because, Connor, you and I never. I mean, I knew it was on a movie soundtrack and stuff, but to have it.
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Okay.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of grew up in having this having this exist in a different context than how it was released originally,
Definitely.
So it's very interesting because I'm reading here, and if I'm reading this correctly, Connor, in '95 it reached #1 on the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks chart and spent 16 weeks on it.
Just to be clear, when you say if I'm reading this correctly, do you mean you're not sure if you're actually able to read it properly?
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on.
You don't know what the fuck you're reading, or
I lost my glasses.
You can't verify the credibility of the source.
It says it's it could be #1 or number done. I can't. I'm not sure which word it is.
You have to get your spectacles there, buddy.
Yeah. No. This is I'm reading this off a verifiable, reliable source, Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
So everything on Wikipedia. I mean, in all honesty, Wikipedia is more reliable than people say. That was really a thing back in our day, back when we were growing. It's kind of funny, Connor, because when we were growing up and doing school reports and stuff and homework and stuff, the teachers would advise us. They'd say, "Hey, Wikipedia is not a legitimate source. You just you don't look at that. You can't cite Wikipedia. You need to find an actual source."
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like with the rise of AI, and you're a teacher, so
maybe
you might have some insight into this. You're a teacher who now has his master's degree.
That's all true.
You've graduated.
Yes.
You're a real teacher.
It's true.
Now, so I feel like today with the rise of AI, it's like teachers might be like, please use Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. Don't use ChatGPT. Please go back to Wikipedia.
Right.
I feel like things have changed.
Yeah, it's like that horseshoe effect, right? It's come all the way back around the other side. I mean, for the most part, I think you're right. Like in the classes that I teach, since it's like younger grades, it's not really as much of a issue. So I'm not sure how other teachers might feel about it, but there really are times where the kids have to do research and cite sources, and if they go on Wikipedia, I just look the other way. I'm gonna right the wrongs of the past, because it was never have you ever checked the source on Wikipedia and then found it to be wrong? Every time I've ever double checked something on Wikipedia, it's always been accurate. I think
Connor,
Wikipedia gets a bad rap for sure.
It does. I mean, Connor, the moderators in Wikipedia, they are relentless, vicious. They take their jobs very, very seriously.
They do.
Have you ever tried to edit in a Wikipedia article?
Yes. Yeah, you'll put some stupid ass bullshit. It'll be up there for 1 second. You try to screenshot, and then it's gone.
Gone forever, right away.
It's like, nope. They know if you're fucking around on Wikipedia.
They do. Yeah. yeah, I think finally we can say, okay, Wikipedia is a reliable, like, what is it, like a secondhand source or something, or since it cites the sources in the
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
mean,
fine.
I'll tell you what, it's better than Google, because you go on, the first thing
Yes.
that you see on Google now is an AI search result, and it's like,
Yeah.
what are we even doing here,
It's
man?
all fake and bad. Somehow Wikipedia has become like a bastion of reality
Mhm.
on the World
Mhm.
Wide Web.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyways, I'm choosing to believe that J.A.R. actually was a number one song on the Billboard Modern Rock chart.
I believe it.
Yeah, and it spent 16 weeks on there. It peaked at number 22 on the Hot 100 airplay chart. So that's pretty cool too. So this was a relatively big song for Green Day. And yeah, not on any of their albums. It ended up on their Greatest Hits Collection International Super Hits, which is how you and I discovered it.
Yeah.
So there was some debate in my head. I think we talked about it a little bit, but mostly in my head about how and when we were going to be covering this song,
Right.
because I think mostly we wanted to talk about the songs in the order like how we knew them originally, but this is a bit of a different case because it's like very clearly between these two records, and it's not made specifically for the greatest hits compilation like Pop Rocks and Coke and Maria are. Like
Mhm.
it's not like they're not slotted in there at the beginning as like bonuses. Like this, like J.A.R. is one of the singles that
Yes.
is compiled. So it's kind of a different beast. So yeah, I felt like this was the proper time to cover it. Connor, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know. I think this is kind of this is the gulf between a '90s Green Day fan and a 2000s Green Day fan, where we just discover this song in different ways.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think we're talking about it at the right time, and it's like, yes, even though our personal experience with discovering the song is different than how we're going to be focusing our discussion today. Obviously, we are journeying through Green Day's discography in chronological order. We also did not listen to 39 Smooth as our first Green Day album,
Yeah,
so
true.
I think it all tracks, and it's interesting to consider J.A.R. in this context, as like this in between area of Dookie and Insomniac. So yeah, I think this is the time and place to be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so as well as it being a relatively popular single, Connor, this song is written by Mr. Michael Dirnt.
That's right.
Yeah, the song is written by Mike Dirnt, which I'm pretty sure I'm actually quite confident that this is the only single written by Mike Dirnt. The only song put out as a single that's written by Mike.
Yeah, I feel like that would have to be true, because
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else.
right.
Which I mean, move over, Billy. Give Mike another shot. This did pretty well. Maybe next
Yeah,
time.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and this song's got Mike's fingerprints all over it. Yeah, so I mean, Connor, I don't know. Okay, before we get into it, I'm looking at the Wikipedia now, and it's interesting because on the 7-inch single that was put out of J.A.R. Side A is J.A.R. Side B is Eminem Sleepus. So it's like a Mike Dirnt double feature.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The two
Yeah,
sides of Mike.
two sides of Mike. But anyways, Connor, we might as well get into this one. J.A.R. has always kind of felt like a special song to me in Green Day's catalog. It's kind of mysterious because it's not on an album. It kind of exists in a like we were saying in the in between space, and that just kind of makes it more special. But going back, diving deep into your memory, Connor, to back when you were young, first popping on international super hits, and this song comes up. Take me back to what was going through your mind and how you felt about this song as a young pup.
Yeah. This is maybe the first time where I feel like I have a clear memory of listening to a song we're discussing for the first time. There's a little bit of a caveat there where like it's not necessarily J.A.R. I'm just gonna say J.A.R. It's like J.A.R. specifically. But I remember the first time I listened to international super hits, and this is like now the first time I get to talk about it in terms of like the context, right? Because we've talked about how the first Green Day album I purchased for myself was international super hits, and yours was Kerplunk, and so we go back to your grandparents' home. We're together, right? Like we're
In their basement.
right. We're hanging out. I guess the thing that's like fuzzy to me is we must have gone out and purchased the CDs together,
We
right?
did. My
Like,
grandparents took us to FYE, I think,
yeah,
or whatever CD store there that was in Wallingford at that point. I forget, but yes, they took us there, and we both got a Green Day CD.
yeah. Which rocks. You know, like it's
Yeah,
so cool that we got to like be together when
yeah,
we bought our first Green Day albums. And to be clear, it's not the first Green Day album that we listened to. Just because it was the first like physical copy that we purchased, not the first Green Day album we listened to.
yeah.
That distinction would have to go to American Idiot, you know. So, but exactly what you're saying. After we get those CDs, we go back to your grandparents' home, and they have like this awesome like basement hangout. And I have a lot of fond memories of hanging out there, and not even just when I was young, like well into our adulthood, we are hanging out in that
Yeah, it's still
basement.
a cool
Like,
place to hang out.
yeah. But I remember us just sitting down on the floor together there, and that basement has such like a distinct feeling. It's like I don't know, like I remember sitting down on that carpet, and we each had our CD players. I had that silver, like my little personal CD player. I had that
Yeah,
silver
yeah.
one, and my like shitty little headphones that fucking sucked, and I just remember listening to the album for the first time and just being like, man, like this fucking rules, you know? And so there wasn't anything on International Super Hits where I was like, oh, this sucks. Because it's like it's pretty much made, obviously, to like just be all fucking great songs.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, my opinion on greatest hits collections is very, very different. But like, you know, I have a lot of fondness for that. And so that all being said, I do kind of think that J.A.R, even on like the collection of international super hits, like does feel a little distinct and almost like a little bit of an oddball in that way, where like to me, it's not the most obvious single. Like when I listen to this song, I don't really think of it as I don't really think of it as like I don't know, single material in the same way as many of the other songs. And I think some of it has to do with like the structure of the song, and some of it has to do with like the lyrical content. It's like we'll talk about all that, but I guess just wrapping up, when I think back to this, I love this moment of listening to the CD, and I've always liked this song, but I do kind of feel like there's something about it that makes it that makes it feel like a bit of an oddball, even on something like a greatest hits collection like International Super Hits. And I think that I really felt that way even when I was younger. Not that I didn't like it, but sort of like it has a different kind of sense or a different kind of energy to it. And I think I thought that even then.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. And going back to that memory in the basement, like that's a vivid memory for me too. I remember that very, very, very well. And yeah, it's funny we keep going back to that. Obviously, I mentioned, yeah, I got Kerplunk, you got International Super Hits, and I originally was like, oh man, why did he get a good one?
Yeah.
He got all the hits. It sounds like his sounds great.
Yeah.
Mine sounds like crap. But
Yeah.
of course, Kerplunk is like, I mean, one of the best of their catalog. So my tune changed very fast. But yeah, I mean, that's almost J.A.R. or J.A.R. I go back and forth between calling it J.A.R. and J.A.R. I don't know what
Yeah.
to. Um, anyways, it's a weird thing because it sounds like a little bit less produced than the rest of the hits compilation. And it's not like Kerplunk level underproduced, but it's not like single level production, I guess. Like the drums kind of sound a little bit tinny, not I mean, this is all, take this with a grain of salt because it sounds great, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a very slightly different flavor than the rest of their kind of like they produced this not thinking it would be a single, or like, I don't know, a little bit more haphazardly, not in a bad way, um, but that's just kind of the vibe I get. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. This was kind of a it doesn't have the, I mean, again, it's the only single written by Mike Dirnt, so it's like it doesn't have really the sing alongness that a lot of the big singles have. It's very catchy in its own way, and it's there's a reason why it was popular, but yeah, it's definitely an oddball in a couple of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Connor, as you have aged with this song, obviously, it's kind of thematically, I feel like this is a song that does, as you live with it and as you age, it does kind of change meaning, or it's kind of a deeper. I feel like it's a deeper song in uh, some ways. So as you've grown into the big man you are,
Yeah.
how have your thoughts on this song changed over the years?
Um. Yeah. It is definitely a song that I guess that like it feels like it grows with you. In that it does, it sort of reminds me of something that might be on Kerplunk actually, in that sense, of like talking about how like when you re-listen to a song like No One Knows or whatever, like it's not the same, but I don't know, that it does kind of feel like it's not quite like the anxiety of aging, um but more how like life uh is inevitably going to suck. It's things are going to happen in life that are awful, and that's just that it's sort of like that twisted necessity in a way, right? It's like you can't have life and existence without pain. I think that's like a Nietzsche kind of thing, but I'm not trying to be philosophical about it. It's just like, by virtue of being alive, you will experience like great tragedy and great loss,
Yeah,
unless it happens to you, you know, like, and this is a song that, you know, definitely encapsulates that, but uh, without like dwelling on it or without feeling like a bummer. You know, like when I listen to this song, it's it's not a depressing song. You know, I think it's very much like an outlet or like a channel for you know, some experiences and thoughts that, you know, themselves might be depressing, but like the way it manifests in this song here, I think there's a lot of like exuberance to it, and I love the way that it can kind of contain all of that. Like it feels like it has that like heavy, important, raw, real, you know, like a emotionality to it, and and yet it's delivered in this way that uh it feels, you know, I mean, it's obvious, I guess, when you look through the lyrics, but you know, it's like, um I don't know, there's like this sense of living for someone else, or like, you know, not having that weight crush you, you know. It's like you still gotta um go forwards, and it's almost like you have more reason to be alive, like in the face of like this hardship,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. Yeah, just to put it out there, before we dive into the nitty gritty, this, you know, Connor kind of implied this, but yeah, it's a heavy song because the song was written by the band's close friend Jason Andrew Relva, who died in a car crash at 19 years old. Um, yeah, that's the song's namesake. And so there's a heaviness to it, but not a dwelling, which I think is really important. And it does come from the same. It feels like it is cut from the same cloth as some of the songs on Kerplunk, just because it's dealing with these big existential like topics,
Mm-hmm.
and just like grappling with the harsh realities of living, like, you know, Connor, as you said, like if you live for long enough, you're going to be dealt uh, with pain and tragedy and trauma, and you know, I think Mike really does a great job at capturing the just like just the all-encompassing feeling of like living with something like this, but yeah, like also like using it as a motivator, or just like living with it as something like now, like taking it and like metamorphosizing it from like something that crushes you and brings you pain and grief to something that does kind of help you live on, like you said, like you're living for or in honor of
Yeah.
this person that passed. So yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I mean, for that reason, it doesn't really fit thematically on Dookie. It doesn't fit thematically on. I mean, it doesn't fit thematically on Insomniac either, because it's not as nihilistic. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the song was on Insomniac, it would be different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that also makes it an oddball. Yeah. So I mean, Connor, do you want to dive into some of these performances?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Let's do that.
All right. So I think the obvious one here, Connor, is we got to start with this bass.
Yep.
The song starts off with the bass. Of course, Mike wrote the song. He's like, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna steal the spotlight here. This is my moment. And he takes it and he crushes it.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, what are your thoughts on the bass performance here?
Yeah, really, really excellent. Mike's bass playing in the intro of this song is like immediately kind of draws you in. It has like such a nice up and down kind of like I don't know, like I don't think staccato is the right word, but it's I don't know. I always feel like I'm hooked by it. Like there's something mesmerizing about it in a way, and it's I don't know. It's like people always talk about like what a good bassist, what a great bass player Mike is, and we've had many moments to demonstrate that. But like this really feels like a moment to just be like, man, like what a fantastic bass line to have in a song, because like it's not immediately obvious, I think, to do something like this, and it's one of the things that makes the song, I think, feel as like musically interesting or dynamic as it is. Because a lot of times we might say, oh, Mike's playing for the song, and but it's like kind of like you're saying, Mike is the one setting the pace here, so it's not that he's playing, quote unquote, for the song or following the rhythm guitar. It's like he's the one laying out what this song is.
Yeah.
And then it's like the rest of the song kind of like bends around him, so it's such a cool way to start it and to end it. It's like it's very it kind of loops back around that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's bookended with bass. And yeah, I mean, throughout it's a great performance. And you're right. It's Mike is leading the charge here. And I mean, the bass just sounds great. Like it's I kind of feel like I may be out of pocket here. Like I did. Again, this song sounds great. It was recorded professionally and high end, but I mean, just coming off of Dookie, this song, it just sounds a little bit less polished.
Mm-hmm.
So the guitar just sounds like a little bit over distorted or sharp, and I like that kind of thing. It's not kerplunk level. Again, the drums are like just a little bit tinnier than Dookie, but to my ears, the bass sounds excellent. The bass is easily the best sounding part of the song.
Yeah,
I think the vocals sound amazing too, but so yeah, I think this is like just it's a great showcase for the bass through and through. Even if the performance isn't like super flashy, it is the star of the show here.
Yeah, I think
Mike earned it.
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna say, I don't know if this is just me thing, but like as I was listening and re-listening to the song, I do feel like this is still one of those times where I kind of lose the bass though, as the song goes, because it's like obviously it's front and center there at the beginning and the end, but the guitar is very big in this song, and I did have trouble trying to like stick with the bass as the rest of the song went through, and I was wondering if did you feel that way too? Because I wish I had more to say, and yet I feel like I it's like I don't have the full scope of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, again, I think that is just a function of like I do feel like the guitar is a little like blown out or just a little bit too sharp sounding. So I think that is an issue. In that it does get buried at times. But I mean, really, like I like it's like a funny thing where it's like when the bass pops up, when it is like it's almost like that's all you remember. You know what I mean? Like it's so good when you can hear it that it's like after it's over, you're like, oh man, the bass in that song was awesome. Like even if you can, it's only truly audible for like 20% of the song or something like that. But no, you're right. Moving on to the drums, Connor. Those come in second after the bass, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what your opinion here is like, do you think they sound like just like a little bit more tinny than usual? Like they don't sound as crisp as the Dookie drums.
That might. I'd be willing to say that that might be the case there, because we talked a lot about like how full and how rich the drums sound on Dookie, and I don't think I quite stepped away with the same impression, although there's a lot that I do like about the drums, which I'll get to in just a second. But it is kind of funny talking about the production, because of course this song is still produced by Rob Cavallo.
It is, yes.
And I kind of feel like, if I have this right, this may have been through the Wikipedia grapevine, but they're pretty trustworthy, so it's like, but is it right that like this song was originally recorded during the Dookie sessions, but like it was determined they're not going to put it on the album, and so then I think like afterwards it kind of gets like fully produced or fully re-recorded for the movie? Is that kind of the timeline?
So yeah, I mean it was recorded for the Dookie sessions. I think it was probably mixed and mastered after, not with the rest of the album. I think that might be where the discrepancy is.
Right.
I think it was all recorded with Dookie, but then shelved until the movie came up.
Yeah, and I do think that this song. It is right to say J.A.R. I shouldn't say J.A.R. It's like, it's J.A.R. It is.
It's fine either way. It's fine.
I know.
Billy calls it J.A.R. too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll just go back and forth. It doesn't matter. but it's like talking about it as this in between song. I do kind of think that J.A.R. is a bit of this like Rosetta Stone transition artifact between Dookie and Insomniac, because we're close to starting our Insomniac discussion, and I definitely have some thoughts on the way the album is produced and how it sets itself apart from the production on Dookie. And I think that J.A.R. like really does serve as like this tiny little transition piece in like, I think, how and why that jump occurs, because they are experimenting in like what they want their sound to be, and so it's definitely, I don't think it's like a matter of like, they're making J.A.R. and it's like, whatever, just push it out, who cares, it's like, I think that this is like a step towards the direction of like the sound that they wanted to make after Dookie. And we kind of talked about how they don't just want to be the Dookie band, they don't just want to make Dookie 2, and I think that even like you see that like shining through even on a song like J.A.R.
Yeah, no, I think that's I mean, even in the potentially in the production choices or the mixing mastering process, that is evident, because I mean, those are processes the band they're very hands on in that kind of thing. So of course this is all intentional. So I think that's some great insight there. Yeah, and just as far as the drum performance goes here, what do we think of Mr. Trey Cool's stick slinging?
Ooh, stick slinging. I like that. The slinger of sticks.
That's what I'm calling it today.
Really cool. I feel like his playing here is like really snappy. He has like a lot of quick, like a lot of moments as you're listening through where he just like puts a little touch or a little punctuation on.
Yeah.
Just like a little quick, like, hi-hat, like boom,
Yes.
It's like just those little, and it's, it just sounds so great. It's like everything is like so tight, so punchy. And the other moment that I felt like I really dig is you know, after the chorus, he kind of does like those deep rolling drums. He kind of, you know, that's a thing that Trey likes to return to, but it works
Trey
so
cool
well
staple.
here. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, like as he's going through the bridge or in like the outro of the song, like it just is really good. Sometimes I just don't have the words other than it's just really fucking good.
I mean it's he's doing so much and it all feels so organic and like, to bring an example of a different band, like a Travis Barker kind of thing, where he's like an everything drummer. He's like a an everything bagel drummer, as I like to call him, which is
right.
as I always call him.
That's what you
he's
call
that
it.
everything bagel drummer.
He's the everything bagel stick slinger. That's Travis Barker.
Yeah, exactly. He just goes ham and like does everything all at once, and it's a very skillful and crazy performance. Trey does that, but like you don't even realize he's doing it sometimes. Like he doesn't always do that, but he can do that, and like you're like, it's like so organic that you don't even notice that he's like really putting in so much work. Like,
yeah,
because I mean, you know, to Travis Barker's detriment, like that kind of style can become distracting at some time, you know, at certain points. And Trey is like a master of not ever letting that happen. Like, you know, jumping from the drums into the guitar now, like I do feel like this is like an example of Green Day firing on all cylinders. Like really, this is them like to a point where it's like, Dookie, you know, was the big statement, the big mainstream explosion, their introduction onto the world stage. This is obviously not like a breakout single like Longview or Basket Case, or this is not that, but this is like such a refined version of what they do that it just feels like everything coalesces so perfectly. Like, I mean, this is Green Day. This is Green Day, at like fully realized. We have it, and we've said that a few times for sure.
We have,
but it's kind of like you get to a point where it's like the band is fully realized, and then they get even more fully realized. They become more of themselves, I think, as they go along. And this is kind of like a marker on that journey, you know. I think we can point to.
Yeah, you know why I think that's kind of true though is because like obviously Green Day becomes so many different things throughout their career, and like they experiment and change their sound in like so many different ways that I think that's why it feels like there's all these different points of when they, you know, they're fully realized. Because like when you go through Dookie and you're like, oh yeah, like this is the mainstream breakout, like this is Green Day, baby. It's like, yeah, it is, but you can't also say that's all Green Day is, because they go to so many places so far beyond Dookie that, you know, even right, like you're saying, like you get to just one song after chronologically, J.A.R., and it's like, I mean, even though this was written and recorded during the Dookie sessions, given what the album Dookie is, this J.A.R. does not belong on it. It would make it feels like it would make no fucking sense for it to be on that album, because it like already is kind of beyond what they were doing there, and then they kind of like return to it. Like, I do always sort of think of J.A.R. as an Insomniac song, even though, like it's not technically, but it has much more in common with an album like Insomniac than what they do on Dookie. And so it's like I do think that there's like a further realization of Green Day here, because like as I'm listening to the song, it still feels like you get those flashes of what Green Day will be in the future. And obviously they don't know that when they, you know, but like even like the guitar solo here, the way that solo ends, I'm like, that's the trilogy, you know, that's
Connor. Exactly. Yes.
So it makes sense that there's all these parts of like further realization, because it's like they're never done growing. Like you hit different points in their discography and you're like, oh, this is kind of like the first step into, you know, this direction that they go into later. And yeah, J.A.R. is beyond Dookie for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, piggybacking off of that, jumping into the guitar here, it sounds it's pretty monstrous sounding. I mean, great guitar tone. Like I kind of said, it feels like a little bit dirtier than the Dookie guitar tone, but still very much Green Day, very much Blue. And yeah, just like, I mean, it's like a classic Green Day riff. The day, you know, it's like, and it's just it just works. And that guitar solo is so understated but impactful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's you know, it's something that would have kind of fell out of place on Dookie. You know, you kind of imagine if this song was on Dookie, the solo it just wouldn't be there. They wouldn't have it on there. You know, or it would be even more pushed into the background of the song. Connor, any thoughts on Billy Joe's guitar playing?
Yeah, like you said, it sounds great. It does have like a very immediately like, yeah, that's Green Day, that's Billy, but you know, it's still like it feels fresh. There's a lot happening in this song that makes it feel really exciting. And yeah, even though we've talked a little bit about like the production and the ways in which it feels like there's these tiny changes, I do feel like with the guitar here, it's like it is different in a way that I really, really love. From like when we were listening to Dookie, we kept talking about how it feels. I think I might have used these descriptors already, but it's like, you know, warmer or richer or fuller, you know, and like this still has a very big sound to it, but there's definitely more bite.
Yeah,
It definitely feels like there's a yeah, I mean, almost like this like very controlled but kind of like blown out or overblown sort of
yeah,
distort. But I love it, you know. And the part when it goes into the bridge and he's doing the, you know, palm muted downstrokes, it's like so like crisply distorted that I love it. It's such a fantastic sounding moment, like strictly in terms of the guitar tone that they have there, that I'm just like, you know, wow. And that's I feel like with the guitar playing, like a lot of that carries over to Insomniac. I feel like I'm probably going to be talking about this
yeah.
more and more, because that's like this is, like I said, like this kind of is like the transition piece, I feel like. And I really love the way the guitar sounds here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Moving on to the vocals here, Connor. I think the vocal production here is really really great. I think Billy's voice sounds so good. The balance in Billy and Mike's vocals are, it's like, I don't know, it's so good, especially at the end. You know, it's like, but even throughout the song in the chorus or stuff, it's just really gives you that 90s sound. Like the kind of harmonies they have in this song are different than the harmonies you hear in 39 Smooth of the two of them. Like they it sounds like their 90s personas are like fully crystallized in this moment. And just like, I don't know, Billy's vocals are measured and crisp and emotional, and you know, I really really enjoy their performances here in this song. What are your thoughts on the vocals?
Yeah. Like my big takeaway on this is it's I feel like it is kind of like another fully realized sort of moment for Billy here specifically too, because uh you know, it's like his inflections on this song are so much more like exaggerated and pronounced than they really have been. And there's always been like those moments, we'll have like a moment where we'll be like, oh, it's Snotty Billy or whatever. Like, but this song, it's just like, if the whole way through Billy is on like these crazy inflections, and like undulations as he's singing that I don't know, it's like I just feel like this is like the first big song that I feel like he leans into it like completely beginning to end, not just like for a moment, not just for a line delivery. It's like the whole song. You know what I mean, right? Like, it's hard to describe, but like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't know, like you know that I know that, like, it's that.
Yeah, well,
it's the whole fucking thing.
It's the whole thing. His transformation, like, he's going into full Billyisms.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I think that's growth, baby. That's transformation. We're seeing it right before our eyes. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. This is 90s Billy is here, and he'll be here for the foreseeable future for a few more albums, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's like, this is really where it's like, this is kind of like where it feels comfortable, like
Yeah.
100, like just totally comfortable, established. I don't know. It's a hard thing to describe, but I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, and go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and like, I feel like that's mostly for the verses and the bridge. The other thing I like about this song is like, the chorus is like a little softer, or I don't know if that's quite the right word, but like, like Billy's delivery is smoother in the chorus. It has more of like this melodic flow rather than like this more kind of like in your face, all over the place inflections like on the verse. And so it's like, it feels like it's another like sort of back and forth. I don't want to paint it as like it's all one thing and that Billy's just doing one thing on the song. And in fact, I really like the way that he kind of, just like how you were saying, how Trey very like effortlessly switches between things. You don't even notice. Billy's singing is really different on the chorus and on the verse, but it doesn't sound like it's clashing or it's at odds. It's like everything just transitions in a way that, not only is it invisible, but it's like satisfying. It's exactly right.
Yeah. Well said, my friends. We take a 2-minute break.
Absolutely.
I got to grab something, and we'll be right back for you. All right. All right. Ready when you are.
Okay. I'm ready too.
All right, let's do it. All right, and we are back. All right, Connor, you want to jump into the next segment, aka the lyrical portion of the broadcast?
Yes, I do. With the exception of just one small thing I'd like to mention.
Of course.
Connor, before you brought up Travis Barker. Now, Travis Barker, famously the drummer for Blink-182, another band that we've talked about in relation to Green Day several times.
I think I might know what you're going to say.
Really?
Maybe.
Really? Okay. I think
Go for
that
it.
I think that the bass playing in the beginning of the song sounds like the guitar intro for What's My Age Again?
Connor, this is very, very funny because this was literally something I was going to mention a bit later in the episode. Connor, that's literally how the guitar intro for What's My Age Again was written.
Is that right?
Mark, yes. The story is Mark Hoppus was trying to learn J.A.R, but playing it on guitar, and then he ended up inadvertently writing the intro to What's My Age Again.
Oh,
that's literally the origin of the song.
You know, that almost makes me feel stupid though, because here I am trying to present it like, oh, I just realized this, and it's like, oh no, this is
that makes you smart.
well-worn territory here. Okay.
You came to that conclusion on your own. You didn't even have to see an internet fun fact, which is how I discovered it. I was like, oh shit, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you put the pieces together on your own.
Yeah. What do you know? And you know what? It's like I've listened to both those songs plenty of times throughout my life, but something about my listens up into getting ready for this discussion, it like hit me. I'm like, oh man, I gotta tell Connor this. And well, look at me, egg on my face. Egg.
I don't think so, man.
On my face. It's okay.
I think that's something you should be proud of.
Thanks.
Yeah, which is very funny. I mean, Green Day is pretty much responsible for one of Blink's biggest hits. So
yeah. And
sorry, boys.
You probably can make a wider argument for several others if you want to be a real dick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for their band being popular in the first place. Actually,
yeah,
I don't know. Just throwing things out there. Anyways, Connor, you want to help us with a song?
Yeah, here we go. Goes a little something like this. Just tell me the words I might have known. The words I might have known. The words I might have known.
All right. First off, Connor, I want to ask you, were there any lyrics in this song that you had previously been unaware of, or any mistakes you found in your in your version of the lyrics?
Yes. Yep.
Oh boy. All right.
And I was pretty close, but it's also one of those instances where like the tiny changes are important. The first one, so in the first verse, as always, we're looking at genius for the lyrics here. And it's written as, now he's gone and all they say. I thought it was, now he's gone and on, O-N, they say. Like he's gone and on, like, I don't know, moved on, He's gone and on. So I didn't attribute the following line, you gotta live because life goes on, to like this, these other speakers that the narrator or the songwriter is referring to, and so that was like an interesting change because like in the verse here, the way it's written, they're kind of rolling their eyes. It's sort of like like an admonishment. I'm making up words this whole podcast, or like a criticism. It's sort of like an empty what do you call that? Sentiments or
platitude.
A platitude. That's totally right. They're just like, this is just a fucking platitude, right? It's like, you're experiencing this, this great, there's a complete upheaval in your life, and, someone's handing you a Hallmark card, essentially. And I never realized that, like, that was the call out there. And I thought that was a very interesting change for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your version of the lyric, though, too, is kind of cool. Gone and on, they say. Yeah. Or what was it?
That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought it was just, now he's gone and on, they say, but you gotta live because life goes on, like that.
I mean, that's a pretty cool line too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean your interpretation of lyrics there too, with kind of their kind of not taking those cliched sentiments seriously until that realization is definitely I think definitely what the song's going for. That's interesting.
Yeah. And the other big one here, it's the chorus. I knew the other verses, the bridge and the outro, all very classic and pretty clear. But here's what I thought the chorus was.
All right.
Okay. I thought it was. I'll sing it. I'll tell you what
please.
it was, and then I'll say. So I thought
Okay.
it was nothing gets all right. They're doing all right, and that's the way I want to live. And so I give. I'm so giving. And so I was like, I don't know, and that's just what I thought it was. It's like very close, but I was always like, yeah, like nothing gets all right. They're doing all right because that's the way I want to live. And so I give. I'm so giving. And that's not it. That's not it, but it's pretty fucking close. But the difference matters. Yeah, the difference matters for sure.
It does, Connor. I am close to being in the same spot that you were in because I too have always thought of it as nothing gets all right. I do what I like because that's the way I want to live. It's how I give, and I'm still giving. So I knew it was I do what I like, but I had a similar misinterpretation there.
It does sound like nothing.
It
Looking
does.
at it's
It
crazy
does.
too.
And that makes me think that the lyrics might be like because Connor, I mean, in all honesty, with the way Billy sings and with oftentimes like the way these lyrics are transcribed in the lyric booklet, it's not by the artists themselves. It's by somebody who works at Warner Brothers Records who is listening to the album, and their job is to listen and transcribe what they think the artist is singing.
That can't be right.
It is.
I don't believe that. No,
Connor,
Billy must give them like official fucking lyrics. Come on.
I mean, I think some bands do that. I think maybe Green Day has better oversight, but Connor, this is an actual problem that Blink, going back to Blink-182, on their last two records has had, and Mark Hoppus has come out and said that this is where the error lies. They do not give the label the lyrics. There's a transcriber who transcribes them by ear. And
that's crazy. That's hard to fucking do.
It is crazy. It is crazy, especially for like punk rock or whatever. Like with these, I mean, think about trying to transcribe Tom DeLonge's fucking lyrics. Like,
right? Like you would think
you can't do that. That's not going to work.
It'd be, and I mean, and there's parts, I mean, like that moment in Geek Stink Breath, right, where like Billy just has this unhinged delivery, like the third verse or something in that song is like, what the fuck? I mean, like, how do you not? I don't know. That kind of blows my mind because you would think
crazy.
All it is it's just an email. Just send an email.
Yeah, I know. It's well. This is before emails. I mean, no. Well, there were emails back in '95.
You could have emailed. Yeah. No, you could have. You could have emailed. Definitely.
Yeah. This could have been an email.
This could have been an email.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and I'm not saying that this is what happened, but I think that there is a higher chance of the lyrics in the booklet and on Genius being mistaken than we like to think.
Right, I see.
So it does sound a bit wrong. Maybe fans, listeners can chime in, see, tell us your thoughts on the discrepancy there. It could just be us. Honest, I mean that's the most likely thing is it's us that are.
I think so because as we were re-listening, and I always look through the lyrics when we listen to the song before we start podcasting, and it's kind of like one of those illusion pictures, or where it's like
the old lady or the beautiful,
exactly
like the beautiful woman or
yes,
the old.
exactly. Yeah. And it's like once I knew what to look for, once I knew what to listen for, I felt like I could hear it. I was like, oh, I never ever would have, you know, came to that conclusion in a million years on my own. I could never have that fucking job of trying to transcribe lyrics for Warner Brothers, um, but I do think it's kind of part of Billy's, like his experimentation with inflection, which is kind of all over the place in this song. I feel like
That's probably the likeliest answer there. The crazy thing is, Connor, and I just realized this. If it hasn't been already, Connor, that job is going to be outsourced to AI, like very, very soon.
Yeah.
And some of these lyric booklets, Connor, they're going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We got to pay attention to what the lyrics say on the next Green Day record. There's going to be like hallucinations about, I don't know, whatever Grok is saying about South Africa.
I mean, did you hear some of the shit that AI Darth Vader was saying? Because it's fucked up. It is fucked up.
I don't want to know about AI Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Sounds awful.
Yeah, let's keep it that way. I'll tell you what.
Saying
fucking Wikipedia would never do that.
Yeah. No. Wikipedia would never go to the dark side like that. So kind of diving into the lyrics a little bit more. Any moments where you wanted to point out and talk about? I mean, the lyrics are great lyrics. Like I really think Mike hit a home run here lyrically.
Yeah, agreed. They are excellent, and especially the verses. I think the verses are fantastic. I've always really liked that line in the second verse where it's like, if you could see inside my head, you'd start to understand the things I value in my heart. It's one of those lines that could so easily come off as corny or cringy, but it's like, I feel like there's such like a genuine sincerity to it that it just like steamrolls over, any pardon the Green Day pun here, but like jaded or ironic criticism I think you could lob at it, because I'm like, you just have no fucking joy in your heart if you can't appreciate these lyrics. And I've always loved that line.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a very sincere moment in a punk rock song. And I think it's powerful for that reason. I agree with you. I think the verses are great. Just now I see I'm mortal too. I can't live my life like you. This period of Mike's life is interesting because it almost feels like Billy had this period, this kind of growing up period, or mentally realizing the world was bigger than him and his friends were changing and everything. And we kind of reckoned with that over the course of Kerplunk,
Yeah, totally.
And then, but now Mike kind of is going through a similar thing, and we see that in Emily Asleep is in J.A.R. here, where he's having this realization that he is mortal and his friends are not going to be around forever. They're also going to change, and he's going to change too, and kind of grappling with that. And it's just like interesting, kind of how they both write songs about these similar subjects, but in slightly different ways. And I think we're so lucky to get Mike's POV, from that period in his life. And it makes me wish that we had more of that,
Yeah, I think that's a really excellent point. And it's like there's no time frame for like when that realization hits you. And I think for some people it never fully dawns on them, and so it is kind of intriguing to consider, like, does this song represent Mike going through something very similar to Billy from his own experience and like the way that he expresses that through his songwriting. I guess what I like about like the way that Mike tackles it here is, Billy's like very overwhelmed by that on Kerplunk. It's like crushing him. And I feel like Mike has a bit more of like a level-headed, grounded kind of approach, and it's not to say that like one is better than, and it's there are different points in the lives. There's so many like caveats and things you could get lost in with extrapolating, but just like comparing what their songwriting was like, when they're trying to kind of make sense of all this shit. The way that Mike does it here, it feels like he's on much firmer ground than Billy was when he was trying to reckon with the same thing on Kerplunk.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. I think that's kind of like why they work together so well. I do think Mike is like a grounding force for Billy, artistically and personally. I think Billy has said before like how much he's leaned on Mike, and not to go too parasocial with it, but it makes me think of like, I don't know, Billy's first rehab experience and his talks about afterwards how him and Mike, I do think Mike kind of brought him back down to earth after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a really great that's a great observation. I think that's probably the truth. The lyric I really wanted to talk about quick before we move on is the outro.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, the outro is just a really special way to make a song. To end a song, and really makes you think. I mean, it's not only a great example of Billy and Mike harmonizing together, but I don't know. It's a very unique way to end a Green Day song, and lyrically, it's great and evocative and thoughtful. It makes you really, I don't know. It ends obviously on a. You could call it a cliffhanger. You can call it a kind of ends. Kind of thrusting you into the great unknown a little bit, but
yeah.
Got to make a plan, got to do what's right. Can't run around in circles if you want to build a life. But I don't want to make a plan for a day far away. While I'm young and while I'm able, all I want to do is.
Bang.
And then you have a little cymbal tap from Trey Cool. Beautiful way to end the song. Connor, what are your thoughts on this outro?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I've always been a little unsure. I feel like a little more clear on it now, I think. But I remember being younger and really liking it, and really like I have memories of you and I singing along to this song, and it was always like fun to feel like we, like you team up on the end and like sing along to that outro together. Is like really satisfying. And but I guess just like thinking about the lyrics itself, or the it's like, yeah, there is kind of this open-ended nature, but I think that it like goes back to the chorus where it's like, I think it's all right that I do what I like, that's the way I want to live. And so I don't know, I think it's like I'm trying to reconcile a little bit that it almost feels like there's a contradiction, but like it would be reductive to say that there is in the same way, because it's like, people can contain multitudes and shit. But like, in the chorus, to me, it feels like Mike is just like, well, yeah, like part of the way that I'm gonna, sort of like how we said, like maybe show respect for like my friend's life and, their loss is to live my life freely, and honestly and openly. And then like you get to the end, and it's like, oh well, you can't just run around in circles. And so it's like, I think that Mike is like sort of landing on this idea of, yes, do what you want, and like do what brings you joy, and have fun and live each day, carpe diem, all that shit. But at the same time, like, it cannot just be all about the frivolity. That there must be like some kind of a greater purpose or direction or end goal, because if you're like only living each day as like a means of maximizing your own pleasure or whatever it is, then it's like something else I think is lost. Like, you have an opportunity to like chain those days together and to like grow or advance into like something large. Like, if you are going to live for someone else, which is such a humongous thing to say, then it's like, then you can't just dedicate yourself to enjoyment. It's like, you need to accomplish something greater than that. And I think that like the song is trying to put those two things together. And that's kind of what the outro makes me think of nowadays.
Yeah, no, I think that's I think you're right. That's the tension kind of. I mean, as a young person, when I was a young person, still kind of there, not physically, but like mentally and emotionally. Yeah, there's that tension between being being responsible and having fun, and also living for something greater than yourself. And so I think going like Billy covered that himself in Kerplunk, and this is Mike doing the same thing. And I think it's like it's I don't know, landing on a note of like kind of knowing which direction you're heading, but like I don't know, not putting a line in the sand either way. Like it's a tough one. Like he hasn't really made his mind up yet. He's still trying to enjoy his youth, but like in the back of his head, he knows he can't push it as far as his friends,
Right.
And he doesn't want to. So I think we kind of see that's kind of the trajectory of Green Day. 90 snotty punks to mature, socially aware adults. So this is kind of part of that slow growth. I mean, not such a slow growth period, but to us now it feels like it was longer than it actually was. But this is kind of just part of that path. And yeah, it ends on a note where you can decide what the final line is. But we were revealed the final line, Connor, at a live performance. When at the end of the song, they sing, "Well, I'm young and well, I'm able. All I want to do is," and then Trey Cool comes up from behind the drum set, grabs the microphone, and sings, "Suck Big Titties." So there you go. There you have it.
Yeah.
That's the final line.
There's there is an answer. They close the loop.
Yep. They close the loop, exactly.
That's funny. That's what I think. I think that in My Chemical Romance's "I'm Not Okay," the beginning of that music video, when J.A.R's like, "I don't want to make it. I just wanna." I think it's the same answer.
And it's actually in a deleted scene from that, Trey Cool does, because they were touring together at that time. So Trey Cool comes out and screams, "Suck Big Titties."
Yep.
Connor, that is the perfect segue. That is the perfect segue. I know we're going long today. We're not going to be taking your time for too much longer. But Connor, earlier this morning you texted me a picture of a young Gerard Way. And you said, What did you say? I think
I was like, okay, hold on. I should pull it up. I said
I got it. You said,
okay.
Is it weird to say young Gerard has Angus energy? And then you text me a picture of young Gerard Way, who looks just like Angus, the character
He
from
has
the movie
fucking Angus energy. It's
he has
crazy.
Angus energy. And Connor, that made, and I did think about this last night because I'm not sure. Did you watch the whole movie?
No, I did. I watched beginning to end.
All right,
we're gonna talk.
We're gonna talk a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about it just briefly, but there's a moment when Angus is doing like his speech, or I mean, both the moment of the speech and then also when his friends like you can't dance, you can't do this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That is literally the opening to the I'm Not Okay video.
Yes.
Connor, Gerard Way 100% loved this movie and was inspired by it. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. He saw it, he was like, I am Angus.
Yes.
He 100% identified with his character.
Yeah, I believe
it was
that.
so clear to me. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So yes, we both did our homework for once.
Yes.
I was like so like I cannot believe I had not watched this movie until now. Honestly, right. I don't know what took me so long. But yeah, I watched it last night.
Same.
And I was so surprised at how much I liked it. It was such a good movie. I mean, it's just a quintessential 90s coming of age movie with a fucking killer soundtrack.
Yeah.
Connor, what were your thoughts on Angus?
Wow, man. It was like way more surprising than I thought it was, because I thought what I was in for was a completely forgettable, middle of the road, by the numbers, boring, fucking predictable ass movie.
Yeah.
And like the truth is there's a little bit of that in there. Like once you see the first 10 minutes of this movie, you know exactly how it's gonna fucking end. You're like, okay, you know, but that's not a problem. That's not a criticism. Because there's like so many bizarre and wonderful choices that this movie makes, and like so many like notable things with it. It's like Kathy Bates is in this fucking movie. Fucking God, who was the bully? He was another
James
famous...
Vanderbeek.
James Vanderbeek.
Yeah,
James
Dawson's
Vanderbeek.
Creek.
Yes. This is like his big breakout role or whatever.
He's from Connecticut, you know.
Wow, that's crazy.
My mom like worked with his mom.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Really?
It's insane.
Wow.
I know.
6 degrees of Green Day right here. It's always happening.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what's even crazy? I just have to mention this. You asked me what I think of the movie. I have like so many thoughts, but the thing I have to fucking say, because once I started watching it, I immediately you notice all these things. You're like, holy shit. When it gets to the first scene where Angus's grandpa is playing chess in the park, he has like that old guy he's playing chess with, right? I'm watching it immediately. Within a fucking split millisecond of seeing this other fucking old guy, who, by the way, has no lines in the movie at all, doesn't fucking speak. The instant I see him, I'm like, that's Irving Kershner. Is that Irving Kershner, the director of The Empire Strikes Back? Irving Kershner? Is that
what?
Irving Kershner? Is that Irving Kershner? And then so I have to start looking. So I go on my phone. I go on IMDb. Yeah. And I'm like, what do I... Angus Irving... I go on Irving Kershner IMDb. I'm trying to find like his acting credits. And as I'm looking, it gets to the scene where Angus and his big-eared friend are in the auditorium. And the kid is like, I think I just got a boner. And I'm like, what is going on? So I have to put my... Literally, I'm like, no, there's no fucking way. That's not Irving Kershner. Why would that be Irving Kershner, the director of The Empire? Why would it be him? I'm like, it's not him. I put my phone down. Fucking end of the movie. Credits are rolling. It's fucking Irvin Kershner, the director of The Empire Strikes Back. Why is he in this movie? Anyways, it's nuts.
That's
it's
wild.
Fucking crazy.
That is wild.
Why? What is he doing there? This is like, I mean, that movie came out in fucking 79. In 79, right? It's like, imagine you directed one of the most famous, noteworthy blockbusters in Hollywood history, and you just have like a bit silent part in Angus. What the fuck are you doing there?
That is absolutely bonkers, Connor. I don't know. Maybe he's friends with the director or something.
I don't know.
That is.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to get hung up on it. I just had to like relay my excitement.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of little things in this movie like that. The other thing that surprised me, like you said, great soundtrack. Like last 15 minutes of the movie, I'm like, Weezer is in this fucking movie too?
Yes. You Gave Your Love to Me Softly.
Excellent song.
It's fucking great. I mean, Connor, this fucking soundtrack is, it is killer. I have heard so many good things about this movie and the soundtrack for a long time, but I like wrote it off as like, oh, just, you know, yeah, 90s, you know, like kids or like late Gen Xers or whatever. Like this is for them, you know. But fucking God, it was so good, and it made me laugh. It made me cry. It really the performances were so good, and like you're right, it's a very typical story structure for a teen coming of age movie, but I think it's like real, you know, along with the song J.A.R. The movie is like really sincere and heartfelt, and I don't know, it's the real deal. It's like,
yeah, and I can see why J.A.R. was, you know, not only does it have the most prominent part in the film itself, which we should mention, it's part of like the montage.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And then they play it in full during the credits. But it's like, it makes so much sense because spoilers for Angus, the 1995 comedy coming of age film Angus. If you want to go watch it, spoiler warning.
Mute us right now if you haven't seen Angus yet.
That's right. Okay, I'm going to say it. So the grandpa dies, right?
Yeah.
And it, you know, it feels like the rest of the movie from that point on is like really capitalizing on what we're talking about here of you know, living for those you have lost. And like that's precisely what goes on in the movie here. It's like, you know, Angus is able to grow and to like self-actualize, you know, within the wake of his grandfather's passing. And it's like, you know, Angus, there is like that beautiful, awesome moment at the end where, you know, Angus is like, I don't want to be normal. What is normal? If normal is being like you, then I don't want it, you know? And it's like, that's it, you know, Angus wears the plum suit and he dances and like he does all this stuff that, yeah, like he finds strength in his weirdness. And obviously that's great for Green Day fans because it's all about finding yourself as a weird misfit outcast loser. And
if that's not Green Day, then what is?
It fits so much with J.A.R. It really does kind of feel like I can see exactly why young Gerard has Angus energy. It's like, it's all there.
Absolutely.
It's all there.
It is all there. It is so informative of I mean, and just again, it's another weird little like thing that how Gerard and MCR and Green Day's paths intersect, or that sphere of influence that paves the way for what becomes MCR. And you know, obviously Green Day taking them on their first fucking big arena tour. Like it's just I don't know. It's a cool little part of rock and roll history that geeks like me just like, I don't know. It's amazing to have that kind of realization after loving these bands for over 20 years. So yeah, it was really fulfilling. I don't know. Yeah, I loved it. Kathy Bates was awesome as the mom.
Yeah.
Um, she's just so good. I guess Charlie Talbert is. I don't know what he's doing now. He doesn't even have a page on Wikipedia, but he is Angus. He was such a good leading man. Really believable
Yes.
as a young awkward teenager who's picked on. The friend, what's his name? Troy. Yeah, Troy.
Yeah.
We all know that guy, right? He's been in a lot of
Dude.
different things.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Owen is his name. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so he's so good. He was like he's just like born for roles like that. I feel like every role he's ever been in is that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels so different from like the teen movie landscape in 95 is just a completely alien like world to like what we like. You watch something like Euphoria or
Oh
even like
yeah,
Shameless, or it's like it's not really fair to compare those things, but it's like so many, like when they cast people in those roles, it's often even like the misfits, or it's like, oh, we got Zendaya to play. It's like, really, come on. Like you watch Angus and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but like I believe that kid's a fucking loser, like straight up
yes,
total fucking
100%.
loser.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. I mean, they don't. Boomer energy alert here.
I
They
know.
don't make movies like this anymore. They just
No,
don't. And it
they
is
don't
a
cast they
fucking.
don't cast
They don't
losers
cast
anymore.
like no. They don't cast losers anymore. It's everybody has beautiful people syndrome with everyone has the same teeth and the same fucking face, and I mean it is as great as like diverse casting has come a long way in film, and like it's awesome. But we have a problem where we're casting the beautiful people like.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, weirdos can be beautiful too, but they're beautiful in their own way. Let them be beautiful in their own way. So I hope there's a return to that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think weirdos of all races and genders and backgrounds, they deserve to be heard too. They deserve a place in cinema.
And
So yeah, I think.
I really did feel seen by that dweeby little Troy kid, because my ears fucking stuck out, man, when I was a kid. Like they don't really not
You've
now.
grown into them.
Yeah, I have.
You
Yeah,
definitely
but when I
have.
was, if you look at like, pictures of me when I was younger, they were like bling,
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
I know, but and it's just so funny because like not only is Green Day featured in the soundtrack, but like they're kind of part of the story, which is funny. Like there's
yes. Troy is listening to the radio intently, trying to win Green Day tickets.
yes, and that just felt like I did not personally have that experience of trying to win tickets. I think you have done that in the past for sure, but
I have
it
done that.
it just felt like such a like this is the fucking kid who would listen to Green Day in 95, right? Like,
oh yeah,
this is not like some cool punk rock kid at school that everyone's like, oh, stay away from that guy, he's a punk rock. It's like, no, this kid's a fucking dweeb ass loser, and he's the one that they choose to be like, yeah, he loves Green Day. And I'm just like, hell yeah, because that's what I fucking looked like when I was listening to Green Day. Even more of a fucking
definitely.
loser, to be honest. I wasn't even as cool as Troy, I don't think. So
No, I mean, Connor, I'm in the same boat with my. I mean, as a redhead kid in middle school and high school, like my lot was chosen for me before I was even born. I was always going to be the outcast. So this resonated still to this day. It resonates with me very, very strongly. So yeah, I love this movie. I'm so happy that we both got to watch it finally. Yeah, I mean, folks, if you haven't watched it yet and you're a Green Day fan, I do think that you will get a lot out of it. So definitely check it out. Connor, any final thoughts before we get into the following two final segments?
I did want to say one quick thing, which is just that so I guess Angus kind of is also like Green Day's first foray into the world of cinema.
Yeah, I think it's you're right. It's very funny. We've kind of had a theme running through these last few episodes. This leads them to getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's pretty funny, and we've mentioned too, Connor. There's some other movies we're going to be covering a little bit of that have Green Day's involvement one way or the other. So
yeah,
that's all to come.
This right. This is not going to be the last time we talk about Green Day and cinema, and so it is funny to think about like how their paths cross and intertwine, and it feels like on this podcast we do a lot of exploring of like, well, how did it start? That's kind of why we're going through this in chronological order in the first place. Where do these things begin? And it's really interesting that it's sort of all tied up in this whole shared history with J.A.R., the song that Mike writes, and hey, it's in this fucking movie. Angus and fucking Irvin Kershner is making a weird cameo appearance.
What?
It's like, what a wild start to
if this
to all
movie
that.
came out today, it would be AI Irving Kershner.
Yep.
What the fuck, man?
Irvin Kershner.
Irving Kershner.
I was gonna try to make a joke about that. Couldn't do it. No, let's get to the next segments.
All right, Connor, help me out with this song. I'll start. Goes a little something like this. A warning, live without warning.
Have we heard this song? Have we heard this song?
All right, my friends. Have we ever heard J.A.R., a.k.a. Jason Andrella, live at a concert?
Connor, I always gotta rack my brain. I talk a lot about how my memory for concerts and set lists, and especially with a lot of these songs, you would think that I would know, but I really don't know that well. However, I do think that you and I have heard this song. I would say that yes, we have heard this song live.
Connor, you are absolutely correct.
I thought I knew I was right. I can't tell you when or where, buddy, but I knew I was right.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you want to guess? Do you want to hazard a guess?
Was it at our second Green Day show?
Okay, you're close, but no, it was not our second show. It was our third show.
Our third show. Okay.
It was at the Hartford Xfinity Theater in Hartford in August 2010. Comcast. It was called the Comcast Theater back then.
Right.
And I looked this up, and I was actually surprised because I thought we had heard it more times together, but we just heard it the once together. And I have heard it 1, 2, 3. I've heard it thrice. I think 3 times.
Yeah. Hey, was that also the show I got pulled up on stage for going to Passalacqua?
Yes, it was.
Show, right?
Yeah, show. Yeah.
What a show! Can you imagine that, man? You go to see Green Day and you hear fucking J.A.R. and then you get pulled up on stage for going to Passalacqua. What a fucking night,
That was. I mean, that is up there for best Green Day shows we've been to for me too. The set list was incredible. They played for like 3.5 hours or something. There is an argument, Connor, to be made, and we'll get there when we get there. For the 21st Century Breakdown Tour, maybe being the pinnacle of their live performance. That's can be hotly debated. There's also an argument that it's actually just last year. So
Yes.
like we'll get there when we get there. But what a great fucking show. What a great tour. Yeah, Jar fucking kills live. When Mike fucking rips into that bass part, and you're like, oh fuck, it's Jar.
Right.
That's what a fucking feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
either that or they're about to cover What's My Age Again, but they're starting with bass.
Yeah. Like,
I'm never sure. It's one or the other.
Yeah. Sometimes they do that too.
Yeah.
You never know with them. You never know. All right, Connor, ready to get into the final segment? We just have a few.
That's okay, buddy.
Right.
We gotta check out the seedy underbelly of the internet.
We have to check out the seedy underbelly of the internet. And this is why I had to run out earlier, is because I compiled the social media posts from on my laptop. Actually, I have a laptop now. And I thought I airdropped them all to my iPhone, but Connor, I think I airdropped them to somebody else's iPhone.
So stupid, dude.
I don't know, like, because my iPhone comes up as Connor's iPhone, and yeah. I airdropped it to it was just listed as iPhone nearby.
Yeah, wow.
So my girlfriend who I live with here doesn't have an iPhone, so it wasn't her.
Right.
Right. So somebody got. Yes.
Yeah.
It was because the airdrop wasn't successful too.
Right, yeah. Someone in very close proximity to you just randomly received a whole bunch of screenshots of YouTube comments
about Green Day.
And Connor, knowing you, some of them are not really about Green Day. Some of them are probably unhinged and weird because it's So let's go through these comments and see what you airdropped a complete stranger. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hear it from the anti-social media.
We are.
All right, first off, this is a Reddit post that from 7 months ago. And I just want, we talked a little bit about this, but I wanted to kind of get some further thoughts on this. The post is, once J.A.R. became a #1 hit, would Green Day have regretted giving it to Angus as opposed to putting it on Insomniac? And so, we talked about how thematically it doesn't really fit on Dookie. I think you mentioned maybe it would fit a bit better on Insomniac. But still, it's a #1 modern rock chart hit. I actually think I don't know, it might have done better than any of the singles on Insomniac, maybe barring Brain Stew.
Yeah.
But
that's...
so do you think there was any regret there from the band itself or the management?
I mean, I could definitely see it from the management, but I don't think the band would care in the same way. But, I was thinking the same thing, Connor. Insomniac's definitely a funny record because the singles that it does have are, they're, I think for a lot of, for the general listening audience, I shouldn't really speak for Green Day fans at large, but in terms of like the crossover success, which is what people are looking for from a single, of course, Insomniac is very low, very, very low. And so it's like, yeah, I could see how you would want a big explosive kind of hit like J.A.R. on there, or at least more than what you get on Insomniac. But I don't think that that Green Day would regret it. It's still a big move to have it tied to a movie, and it's like, the most notable thing about Angus does seem to be its soundtrack and Irving Kershner. But I don't know. It's like I can't really imagine that they saw it as like a missed opportunity. It's not like Angus is like fucking lost media. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know.
So short answer, no. I think that or J.A.R. belongs where it belongs. And I don't know. I hope that Green Day thinks it's cool that it's on Angus because I think it fits really well.
I agree with that. I think they probably do. And I think the intention was for Insomniac to be less user friendly. You know, like the fucking lead single was "Geek Stink Breath." Like they're not trying. They're not trying for the top 40. Like we'll get to that, but that's a fucking crazy choice for a single.
Yeah, totally.
It really is. So yeah, it's a good question, and I think there probably were some suits that were like, "God damn it, these Green Day boys."
Yeah,
but that's probably a few times throughout their history there were some suits that were brushing up against them that way.
Totally.
Okay, yeah, this is an insane one. We'll start. This is from YouTube, from Airborne and Droughty, from just 2 days ago. They say, "Remember that scene in Ratatouille when old boy got shot back to childhood? That's what just happened, homies."
Wow, yeah, that really happened to Old Boy. You know, they had to do
Remember that scene in Ratatouille?
Yeah.
We should have watched that too.
I don't know. It's funny because it makes me think of like how old is this? Like the comment makes me think that this person would be at least old enough to have heard J.A.R. when it came out, and that it was like a cool song that they liked when they were younger. But then the Ratatouille reference makes me think like there's no way this person is like, 40 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
Like why would you be?
Know.
So it's like, I don't know. Obviously they could have just been into it, but I don't know.
Unless, Connor, they are a dreaded Disney adult. Punk rocker to Disney adult pipeline. Is it a thing?
It is a thing, and I think that Green Day is in that conversation for that subset of people.
I think so. Just with the mainstream crossover appeal, I think that's
right.
I think it is there. Yeah.
Right. We do not necessarily stand with them. I don't know. I'll welcome any Green Day fan for the most part, but
it's kind of like how anarchists and communists like they'll work together with liberals at certain points.
Right. That's yes.
To oppose
that's what it feels
fascism.
Like.
That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So right. It's like I don't really want to push anyone out except for like all the right-wing Green Day fans, which is like still completely like mind boggling to me. Like those I don't acknowledge you if you're listening. I don't
of course not. We
I would take a Disney adult over you.
So, yes, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Okay, next up we have Ika's Alonin 7661 from 10 days ago. All right, this is I am going to present this without comments.
Oh my, okay.
I don't like it when they can radiate my brain. No, rather I disapprove that. And well, if the King of England commits divorce, then he is not that holy, is he?
Connor, the funniest thing is that you sent this to someone.
I know.
Intentionally. Like this comment already would be pretty funny, but it is like
someone scrolling their phone. Like, what is this in reference to?
This is insane that I really hope that somehow you cross paths with this. I don't know. Connor, you're gonna be like walking by this person unwittingly, like you might hold the door open for this person. You got no clue.
Actually, there's a couple. So there's a couple of guys here that actually I live next to, like in my complex that like my neighbors, like
right
in the building that I live in, like not just the complex, but like next door to me.
Yes.
There's two possibilities. There's two very funny possibilities of people that this could have gone to. Both of them, I think, would have very interesting reactions.
Yeah.
Potentially scary reactions.
Wow. Okay.
Like borderline conspiracy theorists, maybe people.
Okay. Yeah. This is
based on my limited interactions with my neighbors.
Yeah, but you got a pretty good read on people.
Yeah, I mean, I've had one guy like listens to InfoWars on his phone, like with like on the speaker loudly outside, and then one guy like was questioning me about like the real history of Christianity, like how things in the Bible were like fake and stuff. Like so those two guys, I think I'd really love to see their reactions on these comments.
Yeah. Please let me know if anyone asks you about it, and then you have to pretend like you have no fucking clue. Do they don't get to see where it comes from, do they?
Oh man, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Like your name, or
if it might say Connor's MacBook.
Yeah, right. Like does it actually? I don't know what it's like when you airdrop something, but there might be. I don't know. Connor, you got to keep us updated if anything comes of it. But this comment itself, it's some pretty classic unhinged YouTube commentary. I really don't know what they're trying to say. This is like beyond. It's definitely doesn't have anything to do with J.A.R. So
no, absolutely not. Anyways, next up we have oh god, no, that's not. Why does this keep on fucking changing? That's really annoying.
Oh man.
Okay, anyways, next up we have John Brown PQ9TJ from 5 years ago. They said, I remember when this song first came out, it blew my mind. I'm surprised it's not much more popular than it is. In fairness, nearly a quarter century on, I realize it's kind of corny and ham-handed lyrically, but melodically it's just phenomenal. Pop punk purity. And then there's a response that says, not sure why you'd find it lyrically corny or amateurish in any way. It's a heartfelt, well-written song. And then John Brown replies, nah, the lyrics are pedestrian AF.
Yeah, this is kind of the comment that like we already predicted when we were talking about the lyrics, because I know that there's people out there that are going to have that interpretation, you know, and I think that a lot of people are trained to try to have like a distance from art a lot of times, and like to engage with, you know, something that has a sincere message is kind of like interpreted as like childish or naive, or in this case ham-handed. They obviously mean ham-fisted, so they're fucking stupid.
Yeah, ham-handed is very funny.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to this very circular and continuous conversation that we have on irony versus sincerity, because I think that comes up a lot with like Green Day and Green Day appreciation, and the ways in which American culture has changed even within like the last couple decades of when we got into Green Day to now, and like the ways in which like irony and cynicism is still, you know, very prominent in our media. And so I think that this is kind of just like a result of that, you know, culture that so many people are brought up in. And I think they're trained to look at a song like J.A.R. and be like, oh no, you know, this is ham-handed fucking baby shit for babies, because it's about, you know, it's about like, you know, dealing with loss and feeling lost, and oh, all that fucking shit is stupid. If someone dies, then just fucking deal with it, you know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
That's my
ham-handed makes me think of like Edward Scissorhands, but if instead of scissors, his hands were ham.
Yes,
like sliced ham.
Yes, Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands, but they would still be sharp like scissors.
Yeah, no, he would. For some reason, they would be scissors still. Yeah,
still be scissors, but ham scissors. I think that's a good concept.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, if you're listening. Next up, we have Jason Peters 9865 from 4 years ago. He says, "R.I.P. Green Day, 1991 to 95."
Well, at least this commenter goes a little bit farther than others, because when we were talking about the Hollywood Walk of Fame episode, we were laughing like, oh, I'll give them Kerplunk as their last punk record, and that's it. I got a lot of thoughts on that too when we get to Insomniac. I've been thinking about that a lot, of like that larger perception of Green Day and like their punk rock credibility. Insomniac is a very, very interesting album for like that very reason, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. Every time I see a comment like this, I'm just like, I think you're kind of dumb. I just think it's dumb.
I mean, it's especially the the lifespan here cited. It's like, so from 1989 to 1989 and 1990, those years were no good. Band was bad. They were dead before that. And then now 91 to 95, it's like, okay, well, Kerplunk and Dookie and J.A.R, those songs, that's the good Green Day. Everything after that is shit. Maybe you're including Insomniac in that because it did come out in 95, but so that makes me think, like, did Good Riddance kill it for you? Was that the nail in the coffin?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I think we're gonna get a lot of comments like that, and a lot of shit on Nimrod in general. It's like I could see people pointing to like King for a Day, like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't know, but it always goes back, like, these people's definition of punk rock is like so narrow that it's like comically like folds back in on itself as to like just be complete. It's so stupid. It's like, so do you think something is punk rock just because, like, if it sounds angry or fast, or
I think it's that surface level.
Right.
For the majority of these people, I really do.
Right. And that's what's so crazy. It's like people are always like, I'll stop talking because we've talked about this a lot, and we're going to keep talking about it. But it's so funny to me that 39 Smooth and Kerplunk are like always cited as, oh, these are the punk rock Green Day albums. Just by virtue of them being earliest in their discography, they assume, oh, this is the real punk shit before they blew up. It's all fucking love songs, you idiot. Nearly all of them are fucking love songs. You're fucking stupid.
Yes, honestly, I think 9 times out of 10, Connor, it means they haven't really listened to 39 Smooth, and they're like just talking about Dookie and maybe Insomniac and some of Kerplunk. Like I think these are the people who I mean, I really am against like saying, oh, you're a fake fan. You're not really a Green Day fan. But if there's any subset of listeners out there, I think that tag would fit them. I'm sorry. Next up, we have BK, and I just got a couple left. BK 5150 from 6 years ago says, "Imagine the frustration of being a fan in '95 and hearing this on the radio. It's not on Dookie, not on Insomniac, certainly not on Kerplunk. Where the hell is it? A soundtrack? Oh, hell."
Yep. You gotta record that to your own cassette and then just, try to catch it on the radio. And then play it back. That's you can.
I know, different times.
Yeah,
different. That's an insane thought to have. But yeah, very, very cool. This is kind of a more sentimental one here. We have Sly 42 8 years ago. Sly4 says, I never really got the end until it hit me that the ending lines were probably the thoughts of Jason Relva, and the last line didn't finish purposely because he died suddenly in a car accident. Fuck, man, that's deep as shit.
Yeah, that's an interesting interpretation that I don't think so, but I like that's at least an interpretation that I respect and can be like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see why you, and it's interesting. It's an interesting thought. I just don't feel that way personally.
No, I've never heard that or thought that, but it's a very interesting thought. And I think there is some value to that is a cool interpretation. Now there's a response here. Fernanda Martins 9851 replies, I always thought that the last word was fuck. Now this song is so sad for me. You destroyed my dreams, and you are really deep for thinking about that. Kind of emo.
Wow, okay. So they thought that all I want to do is fuck. But then the crazy thing is that what they thought the whole song was about?
I guess.
Because it just really, really seems like that's not what it's about, at all. Whatever. I don't know.
No, it's really, really not. Yeah,
funny.
Just very, very funny how everyone's got their own little thoughts in their own little heads. And
wait a minute. This song's not about fucking. That's kind of emo.
Yeah, right. If it's not about fucking, it's emo. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Then just a comment about What's My Age Again opening riff being born out of the guitar. We covered that. So finally, Connor, we have a one final comment here. And let me just see if I can find it. It is a returning guest, just from, it's going to come full circle because this is from the very first comment that we talked about today. It's the same user. It is Ilka Zalonin 7661 from 8 months ago. They say, California has made a plea for help to Finland. I feel a troubled nation in itself, but we were once part of Russia, and once upon a time, people were banned from washing in Central Europe until we saved them with our sauna culture. You should mind the sauna elf, by the way. And now I hope something will break. It is hard to say what is really wrong.
I definitely agree with that last part. It is hard to say what's really wrong here.
But there is something.
I don't know. The sauna elf almost makes me feel like, is this a bit? Like, are they kind of playing to? Because the first one sounded legit.
You should mind the sauna elf, by the way. What a concept!
Right. Well, yeah. And I'm not saying you shouldn't mind them, but
yeah. If you ever see an elf in a sauna, you should definitely mind them. There is something going on there. California made a plea to help Finland. And their avatar is, it looks like a burning candle, but with like the red circle with the slash, so like no candles or something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We know very well just how bizarre and inscrutable some YouTube comments can be. This is continuing a long and storied tradition, and there's going to be no shortage of that going forwards. But I can't make heads or tails of this, man. I don't know. I do suspect that they might be fucking around a little bit.
Yeah, The only thing that gives it away is the Sonic Elf thing, but that makes me think. I don't. I feel like there would be more tells. I feel like, but I don't know. Ilka Salonen, if you are listening, please get in touch. We would. I want to hear your thought process behind this comment. I really, really do. Connor, who gets your vote for comment of the day?
Oh my god, I was really dreading this because it's hard to say. Wow. Dude, it's like what was the one okay, so like someone was saying like, "Oh, you know, I think that this song's kind of corny or whatever." And then someone responded like, "No, I don't think that. I think that this song's like really beautiful. Why is that your opinion?" I'm going to vote for that commenter because the only other one I can remember, like the King of England getting divorced, and that just doesn't sit right with me. So that's what I got for you. That's my vote, I think.
All right, I got it right here. Connor, I agree. This is kind of the only. I mean, one of the only sincere comments out of the bunch. So yes, the honors go to Devil's Offspring 5519. Not sure why you'd find it lyrically corny or amateurish in any way. It's a heartfelt, well-written song. Gets right to the core, is 100% correct. Devil's Offspring, if you are listening, please reach out, send us an email, follow us on social media, message us. We will, of course, reward you handsomely. Connor, any final thoughts on anything we've covered in this big, supersized episode of Green Dudes?
Do yourself a favor and watch Angus. It
Yes.
does feel a lot like J.A.R. in the sense that like you could look at it and there's parts that might feel corny and sure enough some of it is kind of corny, but I there's different levels, there's different kinds of corniness, and I think it's like I don't know, sometimes I think you got to be a little corny to be sincere, and that's like why people call it out, you know, they're scared to like face something of like genuine sincerity. Like it reveals something. It's like a mirror, you know, it reveals something
Absolutely.
about yourself. And you know, people don't look away. Don't look away from the arms of love. Billy Joe said it himself too. And that's what I think J.A.R. is. That's what I think Angus is. Sometimes you just have to be a little fucking corny.
Amen. Well said. I think that's a great note to end on. Folks, if you like what you heard, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a nice review. I'm going to be honest, we have not received a review in quite a while, so I implore you, even if even if it's just awesome, just write awesome pod. That would make me feel happy inside. Please go ahead and do that, as well as a 5-star rating, of course. You can email us at greendudespod@gmail.com with your experience about Green Day or Angus or any of the things we covered. Follow us on social media. We are at Green Dudes Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. Next week, we'll be covering the Saviors Edition Deluxe, which talking about a bunch of new Green Day songs and other cool stuff. So get ready for that. And then, of course, following that, it's Insomniac time, baby. But most importantly, folks, until next time,
Stay
punk. Awesome. Thanks, man. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a fun one. All right, cool. Have a good final few hours of your weekend.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll be sure to do that. Hey, can you end the stream? We shouldn't be on this. I want to ask you something else.